Well, 7 years ago, there was a 19-year-old phenom in the game named Bryce Harper who had a bright future ahead of him. There's a 19-year-old phenom in the game right now wearing the same uniform named Juan Soto, who is the talk of the league. And the Cubs, not to be outdone for young star power, feature a big handful of former first-rounders ready to defend their crown in the NL Central. And speaking of the standings, as a result of the schedule today, where Atlanta beat the Brewers and the Phillies lost in San Diego, the top of the NL East is again in a dead heat. Washington 5 back. In the Central, the Cubs can move to a 3-game advantage over Milwaukee with a win against Washington here tonight. With that, we welcome you upstairs into the broadcast booth at Wrigley Field with Jessica Mendoza and Alex Rodriguez, Matt Vasgersian. Occasionally, we are guilty of overhyping a pitching matchup.
Never.
That is not the case tonight because all the hype around Max Scherzer and Cole Hamels is justified. For Max Scherzer, Jess, in the midst of an amazing year and en route to perhaps a 4th Cy Young Award.
You know, there's so many directions you can go with Max Scherzer because of his stuff and what he can do. But I'm going to pick 2 things. And one is what he throws. You think about 5 pitches that are plus pitches, and 3 of them, his fastball, his slider, and his changeup, you could argue are the best 3 in baseball. Then the second is the emotion, the energy. I mean, this is a pitcher in a game that can be so stoic. He's not afraid to stare down a batter. He's not afraid to throw at a batter. He has that high energy, that fist-pumping energy that you just love to get behind. So between his stuff and his energy and emotion, I think that's what sets him apart.
There's going to be a lot of energy in the ballpark tonight, Alex, if for no other reason than to watch the home debut of their new prized pitching acquisition. Cole Hamels working at home as a Cub at Wrigley Field for the first time tonight.
Cole Hamels has been a fantastic pickup for the Cubs. And since he's been a Cub, he's been 2-0, 11 innings, only 1 run allowed, and no extra base hits. But he's doing it with the fastball and fastball command, throwing to all 4 quadrants. It'll be very interesting to see if he is this year's version of Justin Verlander for the Chicago Cubs.
This one also features a pair of managers who know each other quite well. A long stewardship between Dave Martinez and that man, Joe Madden. They've been linked professionally for quite a long time as they channel some inner chi. Yeah, that apprenticeship ranged from Tampa to their days here on the north side of Chicago. Tonight, the student and master go head-to-head. The Karate Kid and Mr. Miyagi squaring off next. tastiest blockbuster, and in part by Corona Premier. Lower carbs, lower calories, higher expectations. Welcome back inside the friendly confines at their friendliest on a breezy, brilliant summer night like tonight, and we're set for a good one. Speaking of high expectations, Scherzer versus Hamels in Chicago. Doesn't get much better as we take a look at our starting lineups tonight. Brought to you by Taco Bell. Setting the lineup for Dave Martinez and the Washington Nationals.
From one past MVP in Bryce Harper to perhaps a future one in Juan Soto, the Dominican stud, hitting .354 against left-handers this year with 6 home runs. So not intimidated by the lefties.
Switch hitter and a couple of lefties in the lineup against the southpaw Cole Hamels, the 34-year-old 4-time All-Star. Very good in his 2 performances so far early in his Chicago Cub tenure. A couple of wins, most recently at Kansas City on the road. This, as mentioned, is his Wrigley debut as a Cub, and this is a ballpark that he has some very fond memories in. Great regular season numbers here, including a no-hitter a few years back in his final start as a Philadelphia Philly.
Well, he's excited to be in a Cubs uniform, and you can tell just from his last 2 starts that Alex talked about in the open, but especially this field, this park, it's very pitcher friendly.
Underway in Chicago tonight. Trey Turner, Juan Soto, and Bryce Harper for the Nationals. The Nationals, as we've talked about, have split this series so far with the Cubs, but the returns have been a lot better for Washington, in particular on the offensive side of the scorecard since the All-Star break. A resurgent Bryce Harper, a healthy Ryan Zimmerman, a healthy Daniel Murphy, and it's translated into good things for the defending Eastern Division champs. Two balls and no strikes to the speedster Trey Turner. The 2-1 from Hamels. Well, for Cole Hamels, Alex, he is essentially the same guy as far as pitch mix as the one you faced in postseason play and throughout your career. Some modifications have taken place, however, since he became a Cub. As Turner smashes a ground ball to third, Javi Baez there tonight. A nifty play by Rizzo for the first out.
Go! Cole Hamels, for me, is the perfect pickup for this team. Facing him in the World Series in 2009, he had very, very good stuff. I faced him just 2 years ago, and I was expecting the same Cole Hamels. Jessica, he was so much better. He was crisper. He had better fastball command. He was better fastball command, and the big difference was the life and the command on the fastball. He also added a devastating cutter. So if they get that version of it, like I said in the open, he could be this year's Justin Verlander.
Juan Soto picks on the first pitch in his first career matchup with Hamels and flies out to Ben Zobrist. There were 2 quick outs, and you might have seen those numbers, Jess. The fact that he has refined the repertoire a little bit different in terms of how frequently he uses the 4-seam fastball, specifically as a Cub.
Well, and I think we're going to see, because his best pitch right now is his changeup. And you think about even a start against the Pirates, his first for the Cubs, 7 of the 9 strikeouts were on that changeup. And in his start against the Royals, even Joe Maddon mentioned, hey, when his changeup isn't going, he can still figure it out. But that's his pitch that has to work.
So 2 quick outs for the 6-time All-Star Bryce Harper. 7 of his last 11 games have yielded a multiple hit line.
And there's the cutter we've been talking about. That's the equalizer for both righties and lefties. And you'll see it in pitches in counts like 0-0, 2-1, 3-1 to get him off the fastball.
Well, as much as Cole Hamels enjoys pitching at Wrigley, Bryce Harper enjoys swinging the bat here. At least 1 hit or walk in each of the 16 regular season games he's played here. 2 balls and a strike. Of course, you could look at that in terms of the walks. And in recalling the series that the Nationals had here a couple of Mays ago, where Bryce over a 4-game series was walked 13 times. You could say those walks have come at a price for Bryce Harper. It's a 2-2 now.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, that was the beginning of a trend for Bryce where he just wasn't being pitched to. And I think even Bryce himself at the time admitted that it got a little bit in his head. He still to this day sees a major league low strike percentage. A swing and a miss from Hamels gets the side in order to start the night tonight. Max Scherzer getting ready to go to work. A scoreless start to the night at Wrigley. In a scoreless tie as we take a look at the starting lineup for the Chicago Cubs, presented by Taco Bell.
Joe Maddon talked to us pregame and said he likes to put his 2 best hitters at the top. So with Anthony Rizzo and Javier Baez right after him, even though he's an untraditional 2-spot hitter, he's leading the National League in RBIs and has been having a career season with the numbers he's putting up this year.
5-time All-Star, 3-time Cy Young Award winner Max Scherzer to take the ball for the 25th time this year. 15 wins, a share of the major league lead in that department, a 2.28 ERA, and a major league leading 216 strikeouts this year. Did not factor in the decision Tuesday at his most recent start against Atlanta, and there's a how do you do for Anthony Rizzo to begin the day.
You know, the irony is I was talking to Rizzo pregame and he said the one thing that he fears with Scherzer, he's not afraid to come up and in.
That's like
got one first pitch.
Just a little Cuban coffee espresso there early in your first at bat.
Right? And Rizzo doesn't give a lot of room because he likes to crowd, and right now he backed off the plate a little bit from that first at bat pitch to now.
Well, Anthony Rizzo has led off for Joe Maddon in 26 of the Cubs' last 27 games, and what appeared initially as a stunt last year now looks more and more like a reality to get to the finish line. Joe likes what he has with Rizzo at the top, and it's 2-1 now.
Well, it's working. I mean, you look at his average, and a lot of, I think, power batters don't like to hit leadoff first because a lot of times you want to know what stuff is working and what's not. I mean, Alex, you can attest to that. Of course, Max Scherzer, most nights, everything's working.
Chopped to the nearly vacant left side of the infield, and that's where Mark Reynolds handles it for the first out.
And Scherzer will attack you with all 4 pitches. You see the fastball, the slider, which sometimes goes into a cutter for righties. and lefties, the changeup, and the occasional curveball. You'll see that on first pitches and sometimes in 2-1 pitches to get back into the count.
One gone for the free swinging Javi Baez, exercising some rare restraint to take strike one.
What you also see is a Rocky Balboa pedigree and makeup of just an absolute bulldog who's going to come at you and attack you for 9 innings.
A ball and a strike to Baez, who is in the midst of a 3-game hitless stretch, the likes of which he hasn't seen very often this year. Three pitches without a swing to Javi Baez.
He heard us talking about him in the baseball tonight, how nobody chases balls more. I think he averages more 1-pitch at bats than anybody else in baseball.
You knew you had a swing in him at some point. It was driving him crazy. StatCast powered by AWSAI, and the swing percentage of 60 is the second highest in Major League Baseball. Another big one. Scherzer finishes him off with the strikeout, his first of the night.
That's what makes Scherzer a #1 and a triple threat. Is the fastball, both 2-1 by you and 2-2 right by you. That ball center cut right down the middle, and is all because of the command and the explosion. Fastball hitter. Here it is. Strike 3.
You know, we can talk all we want about the metrics in baseball, and one that really plays for me is your swinging strike percentage on pitches in the zone.
Yeah.
There's Ben Zobrist now with 2 gone, and only Chris Sale of the Red Sox has a higher number in that category. So they're strikes. They're pitches that are in the strike zone, and batters still can't square them up.
That's the late life. That's that explosion that Alex just described. And honestly, if you reverse it, Cole Hamels can't afford to do that. For Cole Hamels, he has to locate the fastball. Max Scherzer can throw it center cut, but he has that late life, especially his 4-seam, that gets that explosion and the strikeout.
That separates the good from the great, and that's why Scherzer is such a dangerous competitor in October.
Max Scherzer, too, has his recent memories of Wrigley Field. In fact, his most recent start here, Game 3 of the 2017 NLDS, had a no-hitter going until the man at the plate, Ben Zobrist, doubled with 1 away in the 7th. Cubs would score in the 7th and 8th and go on to win the game 2-1. On the ground to the shifted side of the infield, and Scherzer, like Hamels, is quick and efficient in his half of the first. Zimmerman, Daniel Murphy, and Mark Reynolds. Ryan Zimmerman has been hot. Funny what can happen with a healthy Ryan Zimmerman. Almost 2 months on the shelf with an oblique injury. 6 extra base hits in his last 6 games. And in this series, yesterday, became just the 5th player, the 5th Nationals player, to enjoy a 6 RBI game.
Oh, those are great. You sleep like a baby. Oh, you can't wait to get to the stadium the next day. Become very chatty, Matt. Very chatty.
I'm a really good hitter. Look at me.
Look at me. Look at me. Where's the camera? Look at me. Look at me. Yeah.
He's in front, 3 balls and no strikes. Taking a strike all the way, 3-1. Hamels able to breeze through the first, retiring Turner, Soto, and Harper to start his night. And to a full count now.
And there's that 3-1 cutter. That's something that Cole Hamels wasn't doing 5-7 years ago. Today he does. That's the kind of stuff that can make him really valuable down the stretch. Now it's 3-2. It's back to even.
Payoff pitch, and he loses him on ball 4. Joe Maddon's wearing a microphone for us tonight and sharing his thoughts on Cole Hamels' home debut so far.
See, for me, he has a tendency to jump out a little bit. He gets his back leg comes with his delivery. That was good. His back foot looked good on that. Change up though.
After the leadoff walk, here's Daniel Murphy. I think it's important to remind folks of the perspective that Joe Maddon has of Cole Hamels. 2008, Cole's greatest triumph, winning World Series MVP, came at the expense of Rays manager Joe Maddon. He knows what Cole looks like when he's really good.
Well, I love that's one of the biggest things that when teams trade and they get a new, especially pitcher, is they can't wait to get their hands on some of the things that they've picked up over the years. And for Joe, one of the things he mentioned to us was the mechanics. He talked about his back foot there. He was telling us about him getting turned just a little bit more for more power. He really believes he can go 95, 96 consistently when he's been averaging about 91, 92 this season.
2 balls and a strike to Daniel Murphy now, the 3-time All-Star who has returned to his former self after a sluggish start to his season, one that got off to a very late start, recovering from off-season knee surgery. Murphy's numbers the last 3 weeks, exactly what Nationals fans have been used to the last 3 years. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I've said it often, and Daniel Murphy is, you know, a combination of a guy that I grew up watching, Keith Hernandez or Mark Grace. He's the stability, in many ways, the most important player, offensive player on that team.
Well, the key to Murphy, too, and what I love, Alex, about Daniel Murphy's swing, this is what I love about baseball, is you see the variance. But for Murphy, he's so simple. And when you see his numbers, I mean, his 3rd season with the Nationals, the numbers that he's put off since 2006, but a big part of that is his lower half. You see how low he gets.
Beats the shift and shoots it into the opposite corner. That is vintage Daniel Murphy. The 3rd is Zimmerman, where he's in front of the throw, and the Nationals are in business with runners at the corners and nobody out.
This is what makes Daniel Murphy the most valuable player in this offensive team. Is a 3-2 count, lays off a 2-2 pitch, and then hits an absolute Hall of Fame pitch and hits it right down the line. You cannot tell you how valuable that is for that offense, and now 1st and 3rd with no outs.
That is vintage Wade Boggs is what that is. That's close your eyes, have
poke it through
a piece of fried chicken and a tall boy, put on some eye black and go get your 3 hits.
And you're right, in Daniel Murphy vintage too, because before he put up the power numbers that we saw in 2015 when he was with the Mets, was him being that slap type hitter that could get the base hits. And when he needs to with 2 strikes, to Alex's point, still has the ability to bring out old Daniel Murphy and poke it through.
Mark Reynolds now, who after a foul ball is even at 1-1.
Watch how quiet he is. Look at that front heel up down. In a day and age with high leg kicks, huge swings, nothing wrong with that, but it's nice to see just simplicity at its best, and that's a nice base hit for Murphy.
Just playing a little pepper.
Kids don't even know pepper these days. I always ask them about playing pepper. It's a lost art.
2-1 to Reynolds.
The other thing, oh, go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
I was just going to mention the healthy Zimmerman, the healthy Murphy. That's what the Nationals want. But it's kind of cut into Mark Reynolds' playing time to a degree, making just his second start in the last 3 weeks tonight. And sending a ball into the opposite field for Jason Hayward, who'll set up. He's got the big arm. Zimmerman tags up. They're going to try it. Throw to the plate is just a little late, and the Nationals are on the board first tonight.
And just good baseball here. Hayward, who's one of the best defenders and a very, very good throwing arm. Good baseball around the horn. What's overlooked in an inning like this is the 3-2 pitch to Zimmerman. A cutter low and in. He lays off it. Then comes Daniel Murphy with another 3-2 count. He goes Wade Boggs, and just a simple fly ball about 300 feet, 1-0 Nationals.
And if that ball's on line for the arm strength that Jason Hayward has, if that is on the money, they get Zimmerman out at home.
Michael Taylor now with a run in, one away, and a man at first. While Taylor's OPS, as you can see, is under the league average. He has been swinging a more dangerous bat the last week and a half, batting over 300 in that stretch.
Well, them getting healthy again is a huge part. They haven't had to play Michael Taylor every game, and Davey Martinez told us we can kind of play matchups, build to his strengths, and that's why he's had success. Hitter that crushes lefties.
You know, everybody's got their injury woe is me story. For the Nationals, it is a relevant dialogue, however, especially among their position players. Their DL days among offensive players, second most in all of baseball. And it's not just the starters and the stars that we've talked about, guys like Murphy, Zimmerman. One of the biggest injuries that they had to swallow all year was that of Howie Kendrick. Right Achilles injury in May. One of the most important players they had on their roster for his versatility, for his ability to keep a line moving at the plate. So it's even role players that they've been without this year. Anthony Rendon not in the lineup today as he was hit by a pitch on Friday. He is considered day to day.
And the architect of this team is Mike Rizzo, the general manager for the Nationals. It is hard to really appraise what a great job he's done curating this team as the architect. But what's interesting about, you see Daniel Murphy, you see Zimmerman, you see Michael A. Taylor. Everybody just gets a little bit better. Instead of Michael Taylor hitting 5th, you drop him to 7th or 8th. All of a sudden the team becomes, you know, much, much better.
And Taylor can't hang on, swings and misses for the second out of the inning. Second strikeout for Hamels tonight. Good matchup coming up tomorrow on ESPN. Mets and Yankees. It's a rematch of a game that was rained out a few Sundays ago. Jacob deGrom and Luis Severino. How's that for a matchup? Wednesday, Red Sox and Phillies. And then Sunday night baseball a week from tonight.
Yes.
Jess, Alex, Buster, and I will be in Williamsport, Pennsylvania for the Little League Classic.
Yeah.
I can't wait. All the Little Leaguers come to the ballpark. The big leaguers go see the Little Leaguers that morning. It's like the best.
Sleepy little town.
Mets and Phillies a
Have
week
you been to
from
Williamsport?
tonight.
I can't wait. No, I haven't.
Oh, A-Rod to Williamsport. It'll never be the same.
Cannot wait.
Here's Matt Wieters now with 2 gone and a runner aboard. A run in here in the top of the second. 2 balls and no strikes to the switch hitting catcher Matt Wieters.
Matt Wieters, one of the most underrated game callers. Switch hitter, can hit with some power. But for a guy like Max Scherzer, who's already all-world, he's even better with a guy like Matt Wieters. How he handled pitches. Oh,
A rocket out to left, but right in the tracks of Kyle Schwarber to retire the side. Nationals do strike first through an inning and a half tonight. 1-0 Washington. Scherzer with 15 victories, leading the National League in that category. Zach Godley of the Diamondbacks was a winner in Cincinnati today, his 13th of the season. Aaron Nola has had a great weekend in San Diego with the Phillies, although it didn't necessarily go the Phillies' way the entire time. John Lester with 12 wins, but knocked around yesterday. And Lester, a stalwart in this rotation and a guy you can count on every 5 days, has not had a real good stretch over the last 4 or 5 starts.
And that's the guy the Cubs have to count on. So yeah, you're right. The last few starts, really since the break, John Lester has struggled, and that's not been his MO all season.
So Scherzer back to work in the second. He'll get the middle of the Cubs order. Jason Hayward, Albert Almora, and Kyle Schwarber. There's always a matchup like this on Sunday Night Baseball that we kind of circle on the scorecard, where it's strength versus strength. Somebody who's hot at the time versus an adversary who's just as hot at the time on the other side. This is the one for me. Good breaking ball swung on and missed that time. Scherzer with the big time velocity, and Hayward has killed the fastball all year long.
Which is probably why he's going to the breaking ball. I mean, you think about, to your point, it's what you want to see. You want to see that fastball, and you want to see Hayward swing.
That was an absolute clinic there with a curveball, then the slider. And what that'll do for Max Scherzer, throwing him slow early like this on the slider, allows him the opportunity to throw the fastball later in the game. That's a tight slider that blends into a cutter. Wipeout pitch.
Takes care of Hayward on 3 pitches, and there's one gone now for Albert Almora Jr. The last time we saw Albert Almora, we were talking about how he wasn't in the starting lineup with any regularity. That's kind of been the case for Albert the last couple of months. But recent performance has dictated that. He's just 5 for his last 39. Facing Max Scherzer for the first time in his career tonight. And behind the ball and 2 strikes.
Scherzer not the most orthodox, especially when you compare him to a guy like Cole Hamels on the opposite side. And Alex, you've talked about this, but from where he releases it to where he throws it, a lot of guys come over the top. He gets a lot more three-quarter, yet can elevate his fastball better than anybody.
And welcome to the world of Max Scherzer. Albert Almora, 3 strikeouts from Mad Max tonight. ESPN Technologies built for baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile using our front row camera.
And I love this look because it takes you as close as you can to the batter's box. And when you're facing a guy like Max Scherzer, especially when you get Almora that chases a ball in the dirt, you get an idea, a better idea of where that slider starts, where it ends.
2 quick outs now. It's Kyle Schwarber. Schwarber, like Almora and like Contreras behind him, all facing Scherzer for the first time in their careers tonight. That is in regular season play. A ball and no strikes to Schwarber. Into center field, a base hit. First of the night for Chicago.
Schwarber early in counts is a different hitter than when he gets behind in the count. No one slugs better in baseball first 2 pitches of an at-bat, and you see it here, 1-0. He gets a fastball that's elevated, but he kind of just shortens up his swing. This isn't the Schwarber swinging for the fences. This is Schwarber recognizing an elite pitcher with elite stuff, meeting the ball and dropping it in for a single.
That's exactly right, Jess. And when you face a guy like Scherzer, less is more. Short and tight to the baseball. Perfect.
Wilson Contreras now with 2 out and a runner aboard.
The difference when I face Scherzer in Detroit to the guy we're seeing tonight, it's predictability and is a great deal of confidence. In Detroit, he was 80-20 fastball. Very predictable, hard. Tonight, you'll see more of a 60-40 split. The unpredictability is what's causing these anemic swings you're seeing so far by Cubs hitters. There is no better feeling as a hitter when you work uphill to get to a 2-0 or 3-1 count and you know that you have a cookie coming, meaning a fastball. In this case, both pitchers will reverse pitch, which pitch backwards, and they'll go with their secondary pitches.
Contreras with a fly ball, angling toward the seats and out of play. Yeah, we you know, in fairness here, because we do a lot of Alex Rodriguez home runs and domination and in our video flashbacks, this was not a guy that you enjoyed, Max Scherzer.
You can say that again.
Do you remember the line at all?
I try to forget those things. Well, give it to me, Matt.
1 for 16 with 5 punchies.
Oh.
I mean, that puts you in pretty good company. There aren't many that can say they own Max Scherzer. That's what he does to people.
I thought it was much worse than that.
That was dirty.
Wow, and he strikes out the side despite the single. Nothing here in the second. 4 already for Scherzer through just 2 innings. Hayward, Almora, and Contreras.
Slider. Change up. Dirty.
time he goes out, I look for this guy, throw a good game, and put us in a place to win the game.
It's been 7 strong from Cole Hamels. Strike 3 called at the knees.
The Philadelphia Phillies are world champions.
In the air to center field. Did he make the catch? He made the catch! The 13th no-hitter in Philadelphia Phillies franchise history.
He has accomplished a lot in this game. Cole Hamels, an NLCS World Series MVP, great postseason numbers. The no-hitter here at Wrigley in July of 2015.
They just shut it off. We're good.
And with a chance to get back to the postseason dance in a new uniform at the age of 34 after the deal that brought him here from Texas. Trailing 1-0 early as we go to the top of the third. And Max Scherzer will lead things off in the inning. He of the 6-game hitting streak. Yes, a pitcher.
Yeah.
With those numbers, a .300 batting average.
What doesn't he do? Like, I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. I mean, the consistent seasons that he's had, even since his first Cy Young, back in 13, and every season since then. And then I was watching him take BP pregame and just locked in, like total, like he's pitching tonight, and he takes this seriously. And not saying that pitchers don't, obviously they want to do well, but I mean, walking through the tunnels coming out here, you would have thought that that was his pregame pitching more, not hitting.
Max Scherzer is making Major League Baseball look like high school baseball. He must wake up in the morning and feel like the king of the prom, the ace, the cleanup hitter, and the quarterback. He's got it all working right now. And you've seen Michael Jordan, you've seen great players over the years be in the zone. He's been in the zone for about 3 years.
And a swing and a miss. Hamels gets him in their first head-to-head meeting at the plate.
It ran where it was borderline.
Tomorrow, 8:10 Eastern, you can catch us one on ESPN Plus. Bryce Harper and these Nationals in their first of 4 against the Cardinals at Busch Stadium. It's also streaming live on the ESPN app. So start your free trial of ESPN Plus now.
I'm so jealous, Matt. Look at that hair.
It is big time flow, right?
And the beard.
There's Trey Turner now back to the top of the order.
The hair and the beard, I'm 0 for 2. Matt, I think you're 1 for 2 on that. You got a great beard.
There's quite a bit of salt creeping into the salt and pepper, however. Bryce still looks good. Father Time has not ravaged Bryce Harper yet. 0-2 is the count to Trey Turner. Hey, you know, speaking of the similarities between Cole Hamels and Max Scherzer as we talk about this great matchup, they're both 34 years old, 9 combined All-Star appearances. And while Cole Hamels was almost destined to become a staff ace, Max Scherzer had to have worked a little harder for it. Yet if you look at their careers, they are in such similar spots. 6th and 7th on the active strikeouts list. As Turner one-hops it to third, got to hurry, he can run. And it's just a step ahead of him for route number 2.
That's why Baez is at third base. We've seen David Bodie there most of the time filling in for Chris Bryant, but they know to put their best defender in the spots against a lefty where they think it's going to see the most action. And Joe Madden told us pregame he wanted Javier Baez in this matchup to be in that hot corner, and right there the last play you see why.
Omar Vizquel hands Sean Dunston rocket across the infield.
It makes it look easy too.
So 2 gone here for Juan Soto, the 19-year-old phenom.
So Matt, keep going. You were saying.
Yeah, just to button up the thought on that. So there's 6 and 7, Scherzer and Hamels on the active strikeout list. Only 6 active pitchers have more wins than Scherzer and Hamels. They've both thrown no-hitters. They're both among the highest paid pitchers in the game. The difference is with the postseason hardware. Cole Hamels has it. Max is trying to get it.
Boy, is he trying. This Nationals team hasn't been able to get past the division series yet has been one of the more talented teams in the National League last 5 years.
Steven Strasburg on the shelf. They hope to have him back to contribute down the stretch. But in the minds of a lot of people, the guy that's the difference this year for the Nationals is the man at the plate. Who strikes out on 3 pitches. We'll talk a lot about Juan Soto as we continue. A 1-2-3 inning for Cole Hamels and a pitching matchup that so far has not disappointed. Come out to Nationals Park to see Harper, Soto, and Rondon in action. Get your tickets at nationals.com. Nats fans have traveled pretty well this weekend, enjoying the weather and a good time here in Chicago. Cole Hamels, the pitcher, occupying the 8th spot on Joe Maddon's lineup card tonight, leads things off in the 3rd. Hamels, then Russell and Rizzo against Max Scherzer, who has yielded just a single so far tonight. He has struck out 4.
Hey, ball right here. Good call. Yeah,
0-2 to Cole Hamels. And Scherzer takes care of him with a minimum of effort for his 5th strikeout of the night. Meanwhile, in the Cubs dugout, some wardrobe issues being discussed by Joe Maddon.
I might need the hoodie by the end of the night, Coach. What happened? I misread. I went in there to change my shirt, put my hoodie on, I went in the bathroom. So I put my hat down and I put the hoodie on the sink. And as I did that, the automatic faucet went off. Got my hoodie soaking wet.
I'm sure they've got a backup hoodie for Joe. Right? It can't be his only hoodie.
Let's see. I think we need to see if he ends up putting a hoodie on some point this game. Otherwise, I love that turned the faucet on. You can hear him just cussing it up, too.
I have a hard time believing here in mid-August that it's going to get cold enough here for a hoodie. But
he's letting it dry.
Here it is.
It's what, like 75 right now?
2 balls and a strike to count to Addison Russell. Oh, check that. A late strike call by home plate umpire Alan Porter. And that puts Addison behind 1-2.
2-2.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Russell. You know, we just heard Joe Maddon in good spirits. And I think there were a lot of people here today, Alex, who were wondering about not only Yu Darvish's progress, and he threw off flat ground today as he continues to mend towards a return for the second half push, but people were wondering about how Joe Maddon would receive you after some of the comments that were made on Sunday Night Baseball a few weeks ago in Joe's defense of Yu Darvish. And I know that you guys had a discussion today to clear the air, and all's well.
I thought we had a very positive, constructive conversation in Joe's office. Look, it's my job to call it as I see it, to be fair, to be objective. And we all love the game. We all want to talk, you know, in great, with a great, how we see the best part of the game, right, and the passion of it. And I think Joe's very passionate. I'm very passionate. I've known Joe almost 25 years when he was with the Angels. And here's the bottom line for Joe Maddon and the Cubs. I've always had a great deal of respect for them, but they need to get Yu Darvish healthy. I remember playing for George Steinbrenner, and one of his biggest pet peeves was if somebody got injured, he would send us to Tampa, and it was our way to. We had to earn our way back to the Big Apple and play in New York. And I loved it. I agreed with it. I wanted to get back to New York. And Yu Darvish is one of the greatest talents in the world. And the Cubs need him. That's why they gave him a big contract. And he's had good, side actions from what we heard from Joe. And it's really important for him and the Cubs to get him back where he belongs on that mound, so they can have their goal, which is winning a world championship.
Yeah, I think you guys both understood each other's points pretty well. Joe defending his player. You feel strongly about your perception of the situation. And there's a base hit for Rizzo. Not a lot of room on that shifted right side of the infield, but Anthony found some for a 2-out single.
When you hit it that hard, Matt, that's what allows it to get by. And I feel like that's Anthony Rizzo, his mentality. As much as we see guys with the shift think about trying to go opposite field, when you have the power that he has, and the reason why he gets on the plate is to be able to hit an off-speed pitch as hard as he does through 3 guys on the right side.
In both swings, Jessica, both Schwarber and Rizzo, tight, short, and not trying to do too much.
So here's Baez now, a strikeout victim in his first try. We set up the MVP candidacy of Javi Baez earlier on Baseball Tonight. And here's another thing to put in that file. Against pitchers who appeared in the All-Star game this year, the collective group, Javi Baez is 14 for 34 this season. So by way of measuring one's best against the league's best, there's the number on your screen against those that were selected to the All-Star game. Baez has hit over 400 against that group this year.
And that, to me, it's the amount of pitches that he can hit. Yeah, he's going to chase a lot. Yeah, he's going to swing against a lot. But that gives you hope that against some of the best, he's going to be able to battle.
Oh, man, does he take a swing?
He'll still take his hacks when he's 1-1 count.
He's Gary Sheffield 2.0.
Especially this one. The slider against righties. Excuse me, the changeup. Anything off speed that you see moving away from his barrel. I mean, and there's times, we saw the pitch before, he'll foul that pitch off, but I haven't seen a pitch he doesn't like to swing at.
Ball and 2 strikes, the count to Baez, batting with 2 out and a runner aboard in a 1-0 game, and Baez goes down on strikes for the second time tonight. 6 already for Max Scherzer through 3. Max Bell, a 1-0 lead for the visiting Nationals in the rubber match of this 3-game weekend series. We go to the top of the 4th inning. We're joined by Nats manager Dave Martinez on the telecast. Hey, Dave, what are the accommodations like on the visiting side as compared to the nice, lush trappings that you used to enjoy in the home clubhouse at Wrigley Field?
It's a little small. There's no comparison, really. What a great home clubhouse as opposed to the visiting clubhouse here.
Well, and coming back to Wrigley, and I'm sure obviously your relationship with Joe over the years, and I know it's been talked about, but this weekend has to be a little bit special and different for you.
Oh, absolutely. I have fond memories here, not only as a coach, but as a player. I started my career here, so this place means a lot to me, and the fans have always treated me and welcomed me every time I come here, so it's been a lot of fun.
Anthony Rizzo, as athletic as they come at the first base side, able to combine with Hamels for the out on Harper, and there's one away.
Dave, Alex here. So we were talking about earlier the team that Mike Rizzo has curated for you, and it's a good one, and you finally have kind of the feel and the shape of it. But talking specifically about Daniel Murphy, it seems like he stabilizes your lineup and he makes everybody better, including Bryce Harper.
Absolutely. He's a constant professional, and what a professional hitter. When he's around, you hear him talking about hitting, and everybody seems to chime in and listen to him and actually absorb what he has to say. He's actually like having another hitting coach. He really is, and he's so good, and he's so well prepared before each game, each at bat.
Well, and now that you have most of your guys healthy, because that's been probably one of the biggest things, there's so much talent on this team, but who's probably stood out to you the most you knew from across the other way how this national team looked, but how do you, now that you get in with these guys, who's probably stood out to you the most?
It's hard to pick just one, because there's a core group of them that really they all stand out and they all do their part. And like you said, when we're healthy, as we're healthy right now, you can see that. I mean, at any given day, one or two guys could pick up this team, and it's been a lot of fun.
Have to ask you about Max Scherzer tonight, Dave. I mean, it has to be an absolute pleasure to kind of sit back, and I know you never really put your feet up as a manager, but the next best thing is watching Max do his thing.
Oh, absolutely. For me, he's the best. He really is, and people get to watch him every 5th day. I get to watch him every day, and he is actually works so hard in between the starts and competes amongst himself to get better at each and every start. So it's absolutely a joy to watch him and be around him.
Dave, thanks for the time today. Best of luck the rest of the way. We hope to see you guys in the fall.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay.
Thanks, Dave.
2 quick outs now for Daniel Murphy with the bases empty. Murphy singled in the first, a part of that run-scoring rally. Mark Reynolds able to strike the sac fly that brought in Ryan Zimmerman for the game's lone run so far.
He talked about in his last at bat how his numbers improved once he started to get kind of that comfort zone you see with him, that squat position. Him getting low in his legs. And remember, his injury was to his knee. And when you watched his swing, Alex, when he was struggling coming right off the DL, he wasn't getting into his legs, which is so classic Daniel Murphy. The reason why he's able to have that simplicity. And you see that back knee there. That's something he didn't utilize when he was struggling.
That's right. Zobrist with a nifty play to his right. Another 1-2-3 inning for Cole Hamels. Through 3.5, still 1-0 Washington.
Ball game.
As per usual, filled to capacity. They used to call those the euchre seats because they were so far away. Fact is, those are the prime seats here at Wrigley Field.
Sitting on a rooftop across the street, taking in a game.
As good as it gets.
Although I like the old school, just like bring your lawn chair, pop up on them. I mean, that's before it was all
chair.
Like, when it was like you could just literally come, or not your lawn chair, your little seat.
Yeah, that's right. Your little seat back.
It's just like a way to kind of sneak in the game. Now you're actually paying, and it's a little different now.
That's, corporate America at its finest. But the experience here has not changed. In fact, it's only gotten better. Ben Zobrist leads things off in the fourth and yanks one out of play. 0-2 the count to Zobrist. Ben followed by Jason Hayward and Albert Almora. A 1-0 lead for the Nationals. A starting pitching matchup that has delivered so far tonight. A couple of singles and 7 strikeouts for Max Scherzer so far. Zobrist has hit safely in 9 of his last 11 since the break. The second best batting average in the National League.
And this is the challenge right here. You liked fastball Scherzer on Hayward. Hayward's someone who hits the fastball well. I love this right now, 0-2, and you're just seeing Zobrist just try to waste as many pitches as he can. A guy who doesn't strike out a lot. And battles. I mean, he just battled a slider at his ankles, and now he gets a fastball at his chin. He's 0-2. And by the way, Ben Zobrist batting third in this lineup. I mean, you just mentioned his numbers in the second half and where he ranks now in the National League. Kind of quietly that big hitter for this Cubs lineup.
And given Scherzer his best battle of the night so far, it's easy to see when you watch Ben Zobrist play why he's such a favorite of Joe Madden. The two, of course, with a lot of time together in Tampa St. Pete. Almost 1,500 games together. Ball and 2 strikes to him now.
Undervalued asset, but all he knows how to do. A bit like old John Stockton. He just does everything really well, and he's a winner.
Scherzer still trying to finish him off. To 2-2 now.
He spits on that pitch. This is as close as you're going to see it. Even Matt Wieters with the big smile on his face. I'd give it to Zobrist.
So the 2-2 pitch and a full count now.
Sometimes you make a perfect pitch. Alan Porter does not give you the benefit of the doubt, and then you try to make one better, and you get a little bit of an off pitch, what you saw right there. Not competitive pitch.
The 9th pitch of the at-bat to Zobrist is a high ball to right. Harper at the eye for number 1.
What an at-bat for Zobrist.
And for the 3-time Cy Young winner, we'll show you the entire repertoire here. Focus on 2 things: the velocity, range, and the location. 97 mile-an-hour fastball, 87 on the slider, 90 on the cutter, 84 on the changeup, and if that's not enough, a 77 mile-an-hour curveball. From 97 on the fastball to 77, 20 miles per hour difference. As a hitter, that is an absolute nightmare.
So 1 gone for Jason Hayward now. Just the second fastball that Hayward has seen tonight, trying to get it into the gap in right center, but Harper closes ground for out number 2.
And what you saw there, you saw one of the best fastball hitters in the game get jammed by a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. The reason why that happens is two things. He sets him up early with secondary pitches, which slows him down. But when you think about the traditional pitchers, the Sievers, the Bob Gibsons, the Dwight Goodens, Kurt Schilling, they go from 12 to 6. Scherzer, what makes him so unique and an anomaly is he comes from 9 to 3, but yet the ball does this exact same thing. And that's why when you come from 9 to 3, you get so many swings that come right underneath. Because that ball is supposed to go down, but it stays straight as an arrow.
So as a hitter, when you pick up his slot, his release, and where he's at, more times than not, you feel like you know where it's going to end up. But because of the fact that he still gets that different, more like a 12 to 6 guy, it's a deception.
Yeah, I mean, there's the slot right there, Jess, and what happens is you believe the history, you don't believe your eyes, meaning that any ball, you've seen it for so many years, anyone that drops down from that low, that ball's supposed to go down. His just explodes him.
In front of Albert Almora, ball and 2 strikes.
Anytime tonight you'll see the Cubs hitters swing through a fastball, 100% of the time is going to be underneath. Watch that.
Chopper to third. Reynolds plays the high hop and zips the throw wildly to first. Nice play on the receiving end by Ryan Zimmerman to help retire the side in order. A 1-2-3 inning for Scherzer. And still a 1-0 lead. Do it right. And LegalZoom. Get legal help for your business and family at LegalZoom.com. Among the celebrity attendees, longtime Cub faithful Bill Murray in attendance tonight. And I said to the guy, Gunga Galungada.
That could be
Mrs. Green, Mrs. Green.
Caddyshack.
Yes. He's a big-time Cub fan. There's no doubt about it. And not just a Johnny-come-lately either.
We need to get you on camera doing the position you got your face in. You turned into Bill Murray for a second. That was cool.
Mark Reynolds leads things off in the Nats half of the 5th. The sac fly by Mark Reynolds. The difference on the scoreboard tonight, Reynolds, Taylor, and Wieters in a 1-0 Nationals lead. We were talking about Cole Hamels' career accolades earlier and his great success in 2008. All the postseason honors. Became the toast of the town in Philly after that World Series run in 08. A lot of good things come to you when you become World Series MVP. Among the cool things that Cole Hamels had a chance to do as a result of that, that all of us will never have a chance to do. You get to go on Letterman. You get your picture on the wrapper of Big League Chew. You get to appear in a promotional video for Call of Duty 2. You get to vacation in places like Wailea, Hawaii, where Cole Hamels happened to be this January when the state sent out what turned out to be a false emergency ballistic missile alert. Cole was there with his family for the 38 minutes of panic that ensued when the false alarm was sounded and everybody thought that Hawaii was in harm's way.
Yikes.
2 balls and 2 strikes as it counts to Mark Reynolds. In play to the left side. Baez. He makes that look easy.
Gosh, he does.
Quick reminder, MLB.TV is now available at an even lower price, just $49.99 to watch every out-of-market regular season game, plus get a free subscription to MLB At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV to take advantage of this special offer. 1 gone for Michael Taylor.
Matt, speaking of Cole Hamels, I mean, he is such a perfect fit for this roster. I mean, not only does he bring in the swagger, the impressive pedigree, the hardware from the championship and the MVP, but being a left-hander, a guy who actually grew up watching and admiring Lester, they make a hell of a 1-2 punch. And come October, you know that he's a guy that he's not going to be overwhelmed by the situation. So for that and kind of buying that unknown, it's one of the most important things is you bring somebody in. Cole Hamels is a perfect guy for that.
And the irony too is Hamels has talked about, we were here a couple weeks ago, we were in St. Louis when Cole Hamels first came over, and he said that the guy that he would almost like Cliff Notes version, how do I pitch against a team? He'd go and watch how John Lester would throw against that team. He's like, we're so similar. The way we cut it in to righties with our cut fastball, the way that we set up hitters. And he said he literally has tried to be and emulate as much as he can John Lester his entire career. And you think about the success both of them have had. You mentioned, Matt, all the things that Cole Hamels has done. But he said for the last decade, he's looked at John Lester as the guy. And he's like, I've never told him that. Now my locker's next to him.
3 balls and a strike to count to Michael Taylor. Well, and there is a chance, too, that they'll stay teammates next year because, look, it wasn't just purely as a rental that Hamels was acquired. Look, there's a chance that he's not back, but there is an option in his contract that would keep him here for 2019 as Taylor slices one into the right field corner, just foul. It's a pricey option, but you know, if the Cubs get together and decide they want to keep him here, it's a $20 million option to have him stay a Cub next year. If they decide not to have him stay here, there's a buyout that the Rangers are on the hook for. So for the Cubs, it's the lowest risk of acquisitions. You can pay him if you want him, but if you don't, the Rangers pay the $6 million buyout tab and you're clean. And a cold strike 3 to Michael Taylor. Slipped the fastball past him. And that one at 94, among his best velocity of the night.
What makes this fastball so effective from Cole Hamels is 5 of them before this and the inside part. This one is the outside corner at 94. As a hitter for Michael A. Taylor, it looks like a pitch out. But when he goes back and looks at the video, he'll see Alan Porter got it just right.
2 gone for Matt Wieters now.
You know, the conundrum for Hamels is that his stuff is so electric and it has so much movement that for Jim Hickey and him, The goal should be, I want to get the ball put in play in the first 3 pitches. The more he does that, the deeper he can go into games.
Well, I think it's worth repeating. You know, when he came from the Rangers, a lot of people looked at the overall numbers, 4.72 ERA in 20 starts, a lot of homers, and they thought, this is Cole Hamels in regression. In reality, his home numbers were bad. He's been great away from Texas this year. And all this fits the profile of a veteran star who's got a second leash on life in a postseason circumstance. A terrific pitcher's duel at Wrigley tonight. Looking at those very small line score numbers that the pitching has been outstanding tonight. On cue, the pitching summary brought to you by Quicket Wireless. And yes, Max Scherzer and Cole Hamels have been terrific this evening. And the difference, the Mark Reynolds sac fly. Each has struck out 7 as we head to the home 5th. Schwarber, Contreras, and then Hamels for Chicago.
Watch Max Scherzer, right? Just when he's waiting for the batter to, it's like he's that kid that's just like impatient. Kicking his leg. Not only does he not know how to sit still, but the way he stalks around the mound, the way he just gets right back on the rubber and just wants to get after it. The energy that he shows when he pitches, it's like none other, at least in the era that we're in right now for pitchers. He'll show you emotion. He'll let an umpire know when he disagrees with a call. He's not afraid to go inside, and I feel like now more than ever we just see a lack of that just total, like, I will do whatever it takes to get you out. I'm sure pitchers think that way. Max Scherzer shows you that in everything he does with his body language.
2 balls and a strike to count to Kyle Schwarber. Well, the numbers, the results, the body of work he's putting together back that up. He and Randy Johnson are the only 2 pitchers in Major League history to enjoy both a 20 strikeout game and a no-hitter. 2-2 to Schwarber. In fact, they both have done it twice. That is the no-hitter, he and the unit. And we could regale you with the kind of company that Max Scherzer's in different slices of statistical analysis. We could probably do that from now until the 9th inning and kind of wear you out. But here's another one that I love. If 200 strikeouts is the benchmark of a really good season, Scherzer has 250 plus in 4 straight seasons.
Jeez.
He's just the 4th pitcher to ever accomplish that.
Sometimes, Matt, when a pitcher changes teams, like Scherzer has like several times from Arizona to Detroit Nationals, you don't get the national recognition or love sometimes because your love is spread between 3 teams and sometimes 4. When you look at a guy, if he would have 1 year, one entire career with one team, I mean, we would be talking about when is he going into the Hall of Fame. Now, he may still go to the Hall of Fame, but it would be a lot more talked about.
Schwarber puts it in play for the shifted right side of the infield, and that's Turner. And there's one away in the 5th. Well, dating back to those other employers, Alex, if you go back to a 6-year span for Max Scherzer, he is in super rare company on this board as well in terms of winning percentage, ERA, strikeouts per 9, and the big hardware, the Cy Youngs. You could make a case that he gets into Cooperstown if he decided to retire right now.
Yeah.
Agreed.
One more Cy Young, he's a first ballot guy.
And he may get a 4th this year. And the thing is, you look at a guy like Greg Maddux, synonymous with the Atlanta Braves, of course, here before that. You look at Randy Johnson, he was with the Mariners, my teammate up in the mid-90s, and then went to Arizona where he won the championship. Scherzer, you still don't know where he belongs, right? And if he plays another 5 or 6 years here, he's going to be synonymous with the Nationals. And hopefully for him, a world champion.
1-1 to Wilson Contreras, who has struck out tonight.
Well, and something else too that doesn't get, I guess, brought up as much with pitchers is the amount of innings. I mean, you mentioned the amount of strikeouts. To me, the amount of innings, the durability. I mean, he's only been on the DL twice in his career, and the length that he'll give you in a game. Well, Max Scherzer, something you'll hear with pitchers is the X out factor. And in this at bat to Javi Baez, watch the fastball go left, okay? So Baez sees that, fouls it off. Then he uses the changeup. It's going to go right, come back, but then dive back down underneath the bat. Then the slider, which goes back left. So you see like an X. What he's able to do with his 3 best pitches, his fastball, his changeup, and his slider, and obviously the frustration of Baez. But you got to tip your hat to what Max Scherzer has done all season, but really tonight against the Cubs.
So here's Hamels now with 2 gone. And if Scherzer's ability on the mound wasn't enough, and Alex, this speaks to some of your off the field pursuits, he's a marketing guy. He's a one-man marketing campaign, because through Max Scherzer's heterochromia, the condition in which he has one blue eye and one brown eye, the Nationals have kept M&Ms in business. They sell bags of blue and brown M&Ms with the letter K on them at the ballpark.
Matt, I need a dictionary when you talk.
We'll get you one in the break.
7 in a row retired by Scherzer.
hot, they have a chance to overtake the Cubs.
The Cubs have been stellar as of late.
I do like the Dodgers. I like the moves they made. Obviously, the Machado was the big move of the All-Star break.
This clearly makes them the favorites in the National League.
They got a pretty good team. I think they got a shot to make the wild card. National League East, Phillies and the Braves have been the headliners, surprisingly so, but here come the Nationals.
Great races in the National League. That's the subject of our Sunday night focus. This is the latest calendar date. It's been over a decade since the last time all 3 National League division races were within 2.5 games of one another as they are today. The Brewers 2.5 back of the Cubs. Phillies and Braves tied atop the East, and out west it is a legitimate 3-horse race between Arizona, Los Angeles, and Colorado.
It gets me excited. We have the National League wildcard game. I mean, every day we're like, okay, we could be in LA, we could be in Chicago, we could be in Milwaukee, Atlanta, Philly. Like, it's all over the place.
There's Max Scherzer leading things off in the Nats half of the 6th.
And I don't see it changing anytime soon.
I don't either. I mean, it is too crowded a race. The West is a coin flip. On the ground for Zobrist, and Scherzer is retired for the 2nd time tonight. Great matchup tomorrow night on Monday Night Baseball on ESPN. Mets and Yankees, exclusive coverage of that one right here on ESPN. That game will not air on, yes, it will not air on SNY. That's ESPN's alone tomorrow night. Mets and Yankees. Wednesday night, it's the Red Sox, Phillies at 7 Eastern. And then Jess, Alex, Buster, and I will be in Williamsport a week from tonight for the Little League Classic between the Mets and the Phillies. Here's Trey Turner with 1 gone. You recall when that Mets-Yankees game was rained out on a Sunday a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, I recall it.
Well, remember how the Yankees were saying, oh good, we missed DeGrom. Well, as it would turn out, they're going to get him anyway, because it's Jacob DeGrom against Luis Severino tomorrow night, exclusively on ESPN. Going to be a good one. It's a shot out to left field, right in the tracks of Kyle Schwarber for out number 2.
Kyle Schwarber, talking to him pregame, he was asking, hey, he's like, when's the Little League game? He was like, do you have any say in like what teams? He's like, that would be the coolest game. And he's like a big kid anyway, but that's what you see with these major league players. We'll get to see, and I'm excited, Matt and Alex, for both of you guys for the first time to see major league players in a little league setting. It brings out that kid that I think, I mean, you know, you played, like, this is a business a lot of times. It gets so professional that you forget that this is the game you played when you were 8, 9, 10 years old.
Well, here's a 19-year-old. Pretty close.
Little League.
And Juan Soto has put together what a lot of people in baseball are calling the best ever season by a teenage player. And before you go thinking that's too heavy, get a load of some of the numbers. He wears out the opposite field. He crushes left-handed pitching. And that's something that doesn't come to a lot of players ever in the course of a major league career. With 2 strikes, he's got an OPS of 753, which ranks in the top 10 of Major League Baseball.
And the way he hits lefties. I mean, he slugs .662. His batting average is .354.
On the ground the other way, but Russell gets to it, and they have kept Soto a quiet 0 for 3 tonight. Cole Hamels rolling right along, yet still trailing 1-0. hanging on to his 1-0 lead. Max Scherzer back to work in the bottom half of the 6th inning for Addison Russell. Then the top of the order, Anthony Rizzo and Javi Baez. Back with Alex Rodriguez and Jessica Mendoza. Matt Vasgersian at Wrigley Field. A sold-out crowd and a terrific pitchers duel on Sunday Night Baseball tonight. Russell a strikeout victim in the 3rd. One of the 8 posted by Scherzer. You know, Max Scherzer has had, of course, so many individual terrific performances this year alone. My favorite was on June 5th. Set a major league record for the most strikes in a game with fewer than 100 pitches thrown. He threw 99 pitches, 81 were strikes. That was the night that he had the immaculate inning, the 3 up, 3 down with 9 strikes. I mean, that's just 99 pitches, 81 strikes. You are just on cruise control, just mowing people down at that point.
And more than that, Matt, it screams confidence. A guy that can pepper the strike zone with 4 pitches screams supreme confidence.
Well, and miss. I mean, that's the thing with Max Scherzer is we talk about him being able to command, him being able to set up pitches, but where you don't see him being elite versus a regular major league pitcher is he'll miss middle and still get swing and misses because of that action, because of that life.
Indeed.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Russell, and gets him for his 9th of the night.
And that last strikeout's a perfect example of that. And you look at his command early in counts. His glove side command tonight, both into lefties and away from righties. Watch him just hit the glove, be able to just attack that same side of the plate over and over again. And what that does, it allows hitters then they look there. And when he misses, look at where the glove is and look at where it's missed. That's middle. That gets hit out of the park for most pitchers. But for Max Scherzer on that fastball, yeah, he'll command it. He'll also miss. But because of that late life that you see, he gets a swing and miss still.
Check the total for Max. I had him with 9. It's 8. 8 strikeouts tonight for Scherzer. And by the way, all of them swinging. Anthony Rizzo now takes a look at strike 1. Cubs finish up their homestand with 2 against the Brewers Tuesday and Wednesday. Come to Wrigley Field to see Rizzo, Baez, and Schwarber go to work. Get your tickets now at Cubs.com. And there's a stench coming from Tinkers to Evers to Chance.
Yes.
I know that they've been dead for about 70 years. The night of the living dead at Wrigley Field tonight.
Creepy.
Field of dreams. You know, Jess, you talked about his stuff and his electric stuff, and we just saw it. But also a little bit about his makeup, which is becoming legendary. This is all you need to know about Max Scherzer. Prior to the 2014 season, Detroit Tigers go to him and offer him an extension or a contract for a reported $144 million for 6 years. He says no. What does he do? He goes 18-5 that year with a 3.15 ERA with 252 strikeouts. And of course, he goes and then signs in 2015 for 7 years, 210. That tells you a lot about who he is and the confidence you have to walk away from 144.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting to bring that up because a lot of fans thought, oh, wow, greedy guy. You think you're going to do much better than that? No, I think the takeaway here, and I think this is where you're going, is that he bet on himself, right?
Oh, yeah.
Indeed, exactly.
He knew there was something else out there. He got there. He risked that by pitching through that year with no long-term deal.
Well, and more than that, Matt, he's also taken a praise of his organization. Dombrowski built a juggernaut for many years, and he said, as I forecast the next 5 years, I feel like I can go somewhere else and have a chance to win a world championship. And what better place to go into the Lerner family, that's one of the wealthiest families in the game, with Mike Rizzo, and he ended up with a better contract and a better, what he thinks, better surrounding situation.
Similar, and I don't recall the exact circumstances behind when you were in your last days in Seattle and they came to you with an opportunity to stay on a long-term arrangement, and you decided to test free agency, and it worked out okay for you.
Yeah, and look, turning down a similar type contract. I grew up poor in Miami with a single mother, and $140,000 is a lot. Imagine once you put millions up there. But besides getting a big insurance policy and being nervous every day that you don't break a leg, it was one of the most nervous years of my entire life.
Is that actually on your mind?
100%. Because you know the offer, right? They hand you an envelope, right? They hand you an envelope, and you say, thanks, no thanks. I want what's behind door number 2. Now, we've seen that explode on some players' face. I was fortunate enough to stay healthy and to have a decent year, my 2000 year, and then ended up in Texas. So it's nerve-wracking.
It is a dice roll, though. You know, you're not only betting on your performance, you're betting that you stay healthy, you're betting that the suitors stay interested. And for Scherzer, it certainly worked out. And I think the Nationals feel the same way. 2 balls and a strike, the count to Javi Baez. And Max is a strike away from getting him for a 3rd time tonight.
It's hard to believe that Max Scherzer at 34 is better than he was at 24 and 28. I mean, the diversity of pitches, the way he attacks you. Jessica, you said it best in the start. He has maybe the best fastball, best slider, the best changeup in the game. That's why he's about to perhaps win now.
Oh,
and then Nolan Ryan grunt.
As he went like Monica Seles, Jake Peavy grunt there to strike out Javi Baez for a 3rd time. Mad Max beyond Thunderdome.
Clinic.
And chicken tenders, just $12.99. That was that last pitch to Javi Baez that came with an audio soundtrack, special bonus track.
A nice roar at the end of the inning, which I'm sure Baez appreciated.
Bryce Harper leads things off in the visitors' half of the 7th. 1-0 Nationals. The Mark Reynolds second inning sac fly holding up tonight. Harper, Zimmerman, and Murphy for Washington.
It's been cool to see Bryce Harper return to form. So much documented about his struggles, more so batting average. He still had the power, but after and since the home run derby, he shows a little drag bunt there with the shift. You've seen just a different, not only the numbers and obviously his bat, him being able to stay more middle of the field and go opposite field, but just smiling more, enjoying the game. And I know that comes with success versus struggle, but I felt like the Derby changed that. And we hear so much, and you talked about it in the open, Matt, about what the Derby does to players and then their downfall. It was totally the reverse with Bryce Harper. And I remember being there and talking to him and seeing him with his dad and just the joy. Not only winning it, but just that crowd cheering him on. And I think for him, realizing why he loves the game of baseball again.
Yeah, it's really more the perception of what the Derby does to you. It's 2-2 to Harper after a big swing and miss. Past Derby winners, as you can tell, in 2014, Yoenis Cespedes was fine, but that wasn't the case for everybody. Stanton hit .273 in the 20 games out of the Derby, and when he won it in San Diego. Dave Martinez thinks that more so than just the home run derby experience, it was not being moved at the deadline that got Harper going. His manager felt like that was kind of in Bryce's head, even though Bryce does a nice job to kind of tune out the noise and not listen to media reports. It can't help but permeate your psyche as he's caught looking.
And home plate umpire Alan Porter has not been on the same page with Cole Hamels all day. On this pitch, they are. And it's a perfect pitch in the outside corner. 93 block. Cole Hamels' stuff keeps getting better and better as the game goes on, and Bryce Harper does not like it.
Well, I think that's where Hamels gets away with, I think, not having even as much life as you see with Scherzer, because on that it stayed straight. And I think for Harper, he expected it to continue to move outside. Stayed right there for a strike.
So now Ryan Zimmerman, who has walked, scored the only run of the night, and struck out tonight. Of course, there's quite a history between Cole Hamels and Bryce Harper, starting with their very first head-to-head meeting some 6 years ago. Let's take you back to May 6, 2012. First time they'd ever met.
Hello.
Cole came and got him on the back. Bryce just a 19-year-old rookie. Harper would have the last laugh. He would go on to steal home later that inning, and Hamels actually admitted after the game that he hit him on purpose and wanted to send a welcome to the big leagues message to the 19-year-old phenom.
The message is not the surprising part. The surprising part is afterwards. You're taught as a young player, don't ever tell people what you're thinking. To Cole Hamels' credit, he says, yeah, I wanted to send a message. That was surprising.
I love the fact that Harper stole home on him, too. I mean, it just had such a great give and take back then.
Harper still chirping down in the dugout after that strikeout call.
Jess, I can guarantee you one thing. As Harper reminds you of how emotional and passionate he is, which you love about him.
Meanwhile, Hamels just rolling another strikeout.
He's 25, Matt. When he's 85, he would not. He'll remember getting hit by Cole Hamels like if it was yesterday. Players do not forget moments like that.
Each starter has struck out 9 tonight. Now it's Daniel Murphy.
Talk about Scherzer with the slider, the fastball, and the changeup. Cole Hamels tonight, he's utilized his fastball, but it's been the changeup that's been his biggest weapon. Strikeout there to Zimmerman, the last at bat. And that's a pitch that I really feel like he's going to utilize more in the second half. It's his best pitch, I think when he's got his fastball command early, that's good, but his fastball isn't, I don't feel like what it was 10 years ago. It's his changeup that's been his dirtiest pitch. There it is again. And you watch against, honestly, a batter like Daniel Murphy, who doesn't swing and miss.
Capacity crowd on its feet. And Murphy, as he is so good at doing, just able to spoil off a pitch to stay alive.
It's about as late as you spoil a pitch, too. It was almost in Contreras' glove.
There's a little bit of a postseason feel in the building right now. It's great to see in here. Just to your point, what's made Cole Hamels' changeup so effective is he's thrown the fastball a great deal early in the game to set up his secondary pitches, especially his signature pitch, the changeup.
Still a ball and 2 strikes to Daniel Murphy, who is one of only 3 Nationals not to have struck out tonight.
He hasn't had a strikeout in his last 32 plate appearances.
There's a calmness, a maturity. It's like he is the senior in the team.
The 2-2. On a couple of room service hops to Zobrist. Another 1-2-3 inning for Cole Hamels. He is quickly becoming a very popular player around these parts in a 1-0 game. What you need to know, there have been 3 hits and 18 strikeouts tonight. That's how good Max Scherzer and Cole Hamels have been on this Sunday at Wrigley.
Just electricity, and Alex hit it, ending that inning with Hamels. You felt like it was a big moment. Him in his debut here at Wrigley.
And Zobrist leads things off in the home 7th with a hard-hit foul ball. Zobrist, Hayward, and Almora in the Cubs half of the 7th.
Zobrist had the best at bat against Max Scherzer this game for the Cubs. I mean, he battled him back 0-2, ended up hitting a ball probably a foot from leaving Wrigley Field out and right.
Woo!
0-2. Scherzer still hitting 95 on the radar gun here in the 7th. Nearly 90 pitches into his night. Zobrist is one of the 3 Cubs not to have struck out tonight. And now you can scratch him off of that list. 10 for Max Scherzer.
And both pitchers known for having a very good fastball, but tonight has been about their secondary stuff. And you'll see it first with Scherzer and then Hamels. You'll see a slider here, followed by a cutter, and then a wipeout changeup. With Hamels, is a similar story. It's been a changeup in the first inning to Harper, then a slider, backdoor, and then a Ron Guidry slider. It's a difference between both the pitchers in their 20s and more mature pitchers in their 30s.
Jason Hayward now 0 for 2 with the strikeout and a fly to right. By my unofficial count, in Hayward's 2+ plate appearances, I got 3 fastballs for him to hit.
I was going to say, I haven't seen a fastball. Obviously not this at bat.
There was one.
The grunt.
Here you go, Max.
That helps.
Jason left his knuckles at the plate for that. ESPN Technologies built for baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile using our front row camera.
This has the sound of Nolan Ryan. 90. And what's great about this is Hayward, one of the best fastball hitters in the game, especially in the upper quadrant. He makes his strength, because of the way he's pitching them, it makes it his weakness. He's beat him twice on fastballs that Hayward usually crushes.
Well, and in. I mean, he gets in on these lefties. Talked about that glove side command, that left side of the plate, away to righties, in the lefties. I mean, he will get in their kitchen.
0-1 to Albert Almora. 0-2 the count to the Cubs center fielder.
The 2 swings that have worked really nicely for the Cubs has been Schwarber on a base hit up the middle early in the game, and then Rizzo. And when you have a guy like Javi Baez taking these long, big helicopter swings, Scherzer just sits there and smiles. It's playing right into his web.
As of the end of July, there had been exactly 4 games in Major League Baseball where both starters went 8. This doesn't happen anymore. Like, we're talking about the day and age of the opener. Wow. And, you know, the quality start, the 5 and fly, all the new kind of barometers for what's an acceptable starting pitching performance in baseball.
Say that stat again.
Through the end of July, 4 games in which both starters went 8.
That's unbelievable.
4.
Quattro.
Each starter on the verge of getting there. We're not sure if Cole's coming back for the 8th. He's been brilliant tonight.
And the problem for Dave Martinez having Scherzer up 4th this upcoming inning. Boy, that is a tough decision for Martinez.
Full count now, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Albert Almora, and the way Max Scherzer's gone, a full count with 2 away and the bases empty constitutes as good a rally as the Cubs have been able to muster tonight.
3-2.
Lying into left field, a base hit for Almora. Not this time. Scherzer tried to power another 97-mile-an-hour fastball into a 2-strike count, and Almora was there to jump on it.
We talked about fastball being so explosive. This is one that Scherzer rushed a little bit, and you'll see it leak from the outside corner all the way to the inside corner. And that leakage allows Almora to get on top of it and put good wood on it.
And that was 97 with some roar at the end on the hands of Almora, which tells you the ability to be able to get to that pitch. We haven't seen anyone be able to do tonight against Scherzer.
As good an opportunity as the Cubs have had all night, as you can see, with Almora as far along as anybody's been on the base paths. The opportunity now for Schwarber. He had the first of the 3 hits against Max Scherzer tonight.
When you're a sinker ball pitcher, movement is great. The opposite is true for a fastball, 4-seam pitcher like Scherzer. You want it straight as an arrow. And the reason why, if it's straight as an arrow, it does not allow you to get on top of the baseball.
Just 2 RBIs for Kyle Schwarber in his last 20 games. And he's worked a 2-0 count here.
This sequence here can be the ball game. So if you're Scherzer, it's about management. Schwarber's had some good at-bats. He hit a ball hard for you against you early in the game. You have the right-hander on deck, which you've dominated. The game could be right here in these next 2 pitches. You just want to put him on. You just want to say, go to first base.
Do you think Scherzer?
That's exactly what they're doing. Yep. I think Max called for that himself, too. That was it. He got behind 3-0. Let's not mess around. We'll start fresh with Contreras, whose number I've had tonight.
He's got 100 pitches. Scherzer understands that the entire game is going to be won or lost for him right here in the next 5 pitches.
Tommy La Stella has been among the best pinch hitters in baseball the last few years, and he is on deck. That would be Hamill's spot. We'll see if the Cubs have an opportunity to make that move. It'll all be up to Contreras with runners at first and second and 2 gone. Struck out in the second, popped out in the 5th. And if you think Scherzer's good with the bases clean under normal circumstances, with runners in scoring position, his 137 batting average allowed is the lowest in the National League.
If Contreras walks, expects the pinch hitter will come in and hit. If he ties the game with a base hit, you can expect maybe Hamels to come back and take his at bat.
Big swing for the downs pass by Contreras.
If you're Scherzer, this is exactly what you want. You want an overswing on a 2-0 pitch, over ambitious. That plays right into the hand of a power pitcher. If you're Contreras, you want to think good contact, pepper back up the middle.
One and 2 now.
Better swing.
To my ears and eyes, you guys tell me if I'm seeing something wrong. That big time grunt only accompanies 95 or
plus,
better,
yeah.
right? He's not grunting his way through changeups.
It gets him from 94 to 96.
Scherzer's biggest pitch of the night perhaps coming up right here, the 1-2. And a great pickup by Matt Wieters on a ball in the dirt.
And a Gold Glove scoop there by Wieters. That's an important miss there because now it's 3-2. It would release both runners, meaning on a base hit, Schwarber can score and make the game 2-1. Biggest pitch of the game coming right now.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Wilson Contreras. With 2 out, Almora doubled the game's first extra base hit. Schwarber intentionally walked. And now Scherzer trying to pitch out of what is the first jam he's been in all night, and we're in the 7th. Still 2-2. Threw him a wrinkle there on 2 balls and 2 strikes. So get us into the batter's box here, Alex. Is he going to double up with the slider, or does he go back to that 95 plus with the grunt?
I think you have to be ready for the fastball always with 2 strikes. But more importantly, you want to think about hitting the ball in the ground and staying on top and staying short to the baseball. Less is more.
The 2-2. He got him! Dropped down again. So it's a pair of off-speed pitches that get Scherzer out of his tightest spot of the night. And the Nationals stay on top 1-0. This summer's tastiest blockbuster. Max Scherzer and the Nationals with plenty of emotion in a 1-0 game. Scherzer with a double-digit strikeout night, his 77th career such performance. And it's the Cubs that go to the bullpen in the top of the 8th for Carl Edwards Jr. He gets a 1-pitch out off the bat of Mark Reynolds. Well, Joe Madden in a spot to use the back of his bullpen despite the fact that he trails by a run. Edwards has been great this year. He's held opponents to a 190 batting average, making his 40th appearance of the season, putting together a terrific overall campaign. One gone for Michael Taylor. Cole Hamels and Max Scherzer matching one another pitch for pitch tonight. Again, the only difference, the second inning sac fly by Mark Reynolds.
Remember, too, I think this ball game would still be 0-0. Jason Hayward, that throw to home on the sac fly ended up going wide right. That was on the money. I think Zimmerman was out at home, and we're still tied.
Ball and 2 strikes now to Michael Taylor. Max did not look like a guy walking around with any intention of relinquishing the onion, as they might have said back in the 1800s. He doesn't want to give up the ball. He wants to go back out there again. That's what it looks like to me. That's not a guy collecting congratulatory handshakes. That is not the case in the Cubs dugout, however, as Hamels is done after 7 brilliant innings tonight.
I got that pretty good night's work right there. You good? You good? You good with that?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at you on your regular rest the next time through also. If you had an extra day, it might be a little bit different.
Yeah, no worries.
I think that's a great night for you right there.
Thank you.
Well done, brother.
Thank you.
I've only seen you give up 2 hits, 1 hit now in the last 2.
Yeah, I don't know as Matt Wieters digs in now with 2 gone. I mean, how much better could Cole Hamels be in his first 3 starts with the Cubs than 18 innings of work, 20 strikeouts, 4 walks? I mean, he's been brilliant.
Well, and that's exactly what the Cubs need right now. You mentioned earlier John Lester, who's the ace of this staff, has struggled since the All-Star break. And even though you know John Lester will get right, take a look at Cody Glover in the bullpen for the Nats. It is so necessary with Yu Darvish injured, Tyler Chatwood bullpen, that they need Cole Hamels. And you talked about him possibly being maybe not the Justin Verlander for the Astros, but just kind of that guy that can come in, not only ignite himself to be a better pitcher, but also this staff, which has been the biggest weakness, and that's the starting pitching.
That's right, Jess. I mean, maybe he's doing his best lookalike, right? Like Justin Verlander. He's been terrific, and he's been a lot more assertive with his fastball, democratic in the way he strikes out hitters with his 9 strikeouts today.
Carl Edwards Jr. picking up right where he left off. Still 1-0 Nationals. Final round at the PGA Championship, plus all the top plays from the day in Major League Baseball, and a recap of Week 1 in the NFL preseason. Sports Center next, right here on ESPN and on the ESPN app. Week 1 of the NFL's preseason. Amazing. Get ready to get sucked right back into Matthew Berry and the wonderful world of fantasy football. I'm ready.
Fantasy football.
Coda Glover on in relief for the Washington Nationals, recalled from AAA Syracuse earlier last week. As good as the Nationals bullpen has been, it is not at full capacity right now with a couple of notable injuries. And that's why the likes of Coda Glover were summoned from the AAA level. Kelvin Herrera on the DL. Sean Doolittle on the DL. Two very important members of the back part of their bullpen. Tommy La Stella will pinch hit to lead things off in the home 8th. La Stella, Russell, and Rizzo for Chicago. Man, is he good off the bench, this guy. Nobody has more pinch hits in baseball than Tommy La Stella. Hey, speaking of fantasy football, tomorrow on ESPN, 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, we kick off our 3rd annual fantasy football marathon with 29 straight hours of coverage.
Oh, wow.
Think your wife and girlfriend hate you during the season? Try taking in all 29. All the fantasy insight to get you ready for your season. Coverage will also be on ESPN2 and is always streaming live on the ESPN app.
If my husband's listening, he's in on that.
Addison Russell now squaring around to punt. We've made our #1 overall choices for the upcoming fantasy league.
You gotta
By the way, of the 3 leagues I play in.
3 leagues.
3 leagues.
What?
Oh, it's consuming.
Oh, so speaking of wives and girlfriends, yours is in on that.
Don't go down the rabbit hole. I'm telling you, you'll never come out.
So you have a chance of 3 picks.
Two of my leagues, the last couple of years, have been won by female players. Yes.
I took 2nd in my league. We made it to the championship.
How many leagues are you in?
I'm in 1. I just stick with 1.
She's in one with all celebrity friends.
No, with my softball peeps. Gets very competitive. Friends are lost.
To count to Addison Russell here. Tommy La Stella with the leadoff single, pinch hitting. Now Russell trying to advance him.
If you're sitting in the Cubs dugout, there's a little light at the end of the tunnel. There's some hope with Max Scherzer out of the game, hopefully in the training room getting ice. You feel like, okay, we can get something together here. Good start.
Popped him up. And Zimmerman for round #1. This has to be one of those nights, Alex, and I'm sure you experienced this during your career, where you're saying as an opposing hitter, anybody but that guy. When Scherzer came out of the game,
it's a big lift emotionally. There's an adrenaline. You want him out of the game. The big win for the Cubs tonight was he can only get through 7 because nobody was going to score on him tonight. So now you have 6 outs to work with to score 2 runs. If you're at home and you're the Cubs, you like your chances.
The numbers on Coda Glover, as we mentioned, called up last week from AAA Syracuse, his 24th appearance at the big league level tonight. Anthony Rizzo with a swing and a drive to right that'll stay in the ballpark for Harper and then some. Not even to the track for route #2. Time for our Corona premiere moment this evening, and we'll give you a wide assortment of choices. Strikeouts on either side.
Not a hitter's night. These guys were dealing. You expect it from Max Scherzer. Cole Hamels, you still didn't know what to get. The fact that this is his 3rd start, his first here at Wrigley, and then Scherzer, the frustration for a lot of hitters tonight. We saw Harper yelling in the dugout, Baez chucking his bat. It's the kind of night it's been. As you see the numbers, 20 combined strikeouts.
20 combined strikeouts. I've been 1 shy all night.
And just both pitchers have faced the varsity tonight. That's their A+ lineup. a lineup that you'll see in October.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one more thing. If you're one of these teams that's hanging around for the wild card, one team you don't want to see is Mike Rizzo's Nationals. Because guess what? You're going to be facing Max Scherzer. And whether they're playing at home or on the road with a veteran catcher like Matt Wieters, who's one of the best game callers in the game, they're going to be favorites, home or on the road.
Yep.
Get them out.
0-1 the count to Javi Baez. Another reason why the return of Steven Strasburg is so important. If we're talking wild card for the Nationals, and they still have intentions of winning the division, but if it's wild card, Scherzer for the one-game play-in rights, and then you start game 1 with your co-ace.
Yep.
Exactly.
And as good as Tanner Roark has looked as of late, Gio Gonzalez getting back, it's a drop-off when you think about Scherzer and Strasburg.
A ball and 2 strikes to Javi Baez. Javi reacting as though he should have done damage on that ball. Trying to avoid a 4th strikeout tonight on 1 and 2 is Javi Baez. Yanked into the left field corner and just a wee bit early. Note to self, Coda Glover, do not hang changeup.
Do not hang changeup.
Speaking of the changeup, I mean, you're making him look so uncomfortable. You throw a fastball right by him, and that's what Matt Wieters is talking about. Matt Wieters is saying to him, here we go, young man, do not get overconfident. Stick with your best pitch, which is your fastball. Forget the slide step changeup. That game should be 2-1 right now. He got away with one. No reason to get fancy here and start the slide step or changeup. Base runner's not going anywhere.
Matt Wieters is out there saying, just wait, slider in the dirt. And Baez rolls over it. On the ground to third for Reynolds. Close play is not in time. Baez smelled a hit and beat it out. Wow!
Now, Mark Reynolds was brought here for his offense, and he's done a very nice job. But as a right-handed hitter, when you hit a slider, you get a running start. And that's exactly what Javi Baez did. And you see that little hesitation right there? That's exactly why Javi Baez beats it, or almost beats it. I guess we'll find out right now because they're reviewing it.
Oh, man.
Looks like they get him on that look.
Yeah, this one might be coming back. Looked awfully close. We'll take multiple looks at the replay, the same looks that they'll get in New York City. So a play being reviewed as the Nationals have challenged the safe call on the field, and there is a lot at stake here. If the call stands, the Cubs have the tying and go-ahead runs aboard. If the call's overturned, the Nats get out of the inning.
All the ball has to do is begin to get into the glove. So if you even back it up, yeah, perfectly. Right as it begins to right there.
I don't know. We could look at this all day, and I don't know that we'd come up with the right answer. Here it looks like he's out.
Yeah. Because it doesn't have to get into the back of the pocket.
Dave Martinez has challenged 23 calls in his maiden voyage as a manager. 11 of those have been overturned. Again, on a different look, a little different timeline, and looks there like they got him.
Where's his cleat? How long's his cleat? This cleat is hovering over the bag.
They got him. Call is overturned. A huge momentum swing for the visitors. A tourniquet applied to what looked like a game-changing rally. Still 1-0 Nats. Catch it all season with the free MLB.tv game of the day. Highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today, your #1 app for live baseball. And in a 1-0 game, the Cubs go to the bullpen for a guy who spent time in the other dugout not too long ago. Brandon Kintzler was acquired on July 31st by the Cubs from the Nationals. Made his Cubs debut the next day, on his birthday no less, and goes to work here in a 1-0 game. Matt Adams digs in, pinch hitting against him. A soft liner gobbled up by Addison Russell, who read that well off the bat.
Sinker away here, and Adams just slaps it. Great jump there by Russell and a perfect leap. Very athletic play by Russell.
How high he gets in the air, too.
So a first pitch out for Kintzler. That was the case when Carl Edwards came in relief of Hamels in the 8th. 4 up, 4 down against the Chicago bullpen. Now it's Trey Turner. Well, how do you navigate the league's top base stealer? You keep him off base, as the Cubs have done successfully tonight with Turner. 3 ground ball outs. And a fair ball into the left field corner. Turner can fly. That one bounces away from Schwarber, and Turner's on his way into third. The throw there not in time. It took one tricky bounce for Turner to kick it into that other gear.
You talk about the speed of Turner. He just bounces this fastball barely fair, but he doesn't let up. And the whole time the ball's in front of him, and Kyle Schwarber, this ball ends up ricocheting off the wall. Not a lot of room there. You see the difference between wall and where Schwarber gets it, but watch Trey Turner get after it. Right out of the box. He sees it right in front of him the whole way, so he doesn't have to slow down. Kicks into another gear almost halfway to third.
Well, you don't see a lot of triples to the left field corner of Wrigley Field.
Nope.
And Trey Turner's wheels make that happen. Here's the 19-year-old rookie Juan Soto now. Soto 0 for 3 tonight, as is Bryce Harper, who stands on deck behind him. With the pace of this game being dictated so by the pitchers and Soto going 0 for 3, we really haven't had an opportunity to chronicle how hot he's been and what an amazing rookie year he's in the midst of. Again, the infield in for Chicago. This is a 19-year-old player, and as Jason Stark pointed out on Twitter this week, he's younger than Kylie Jenner.
Wow.
And already among the best players in the game.
And a mature player. I mean, that's what impresses me the most.
And he's got the green light right here. I mean, how many 19-year-olds have the green light and get a 3-0 slider with one of the greatest players in the game hitting behind you? That explains the respect that Joe Maddon and the Cubs have. Now, Trey Turner should be off on contact here because he's one of the fastest, if not the fastest guy in the game. Even with Harper on deck, he needs to go on contact. So I will get a much bigger lead if I was Turner.
Oh, wow. And Kinsler fails to get the call he thought he had, and that walks Soto. Runners at the corners.
It's a good call. Tries to run it back over the plate, just misses. And that tells you, when we talk about maturity, Juan Soto being able to take the last 2 pitches that he did to get himself to first base.
So Joe Maddon comes out, and with Bryce Harper scheduled, the Cubs have left-hander Justin Wilson hot. No move yet. And this mess is going to be Kinsler's to try to pitch out of. Runners at the corners with 1 gone.
And the reason why Joe Maddon stays with the right-hander is simply for the ground ball double play. The sinker ball is conducive to ground balls and ground double plays. And now you're going to walk him. Now this is very unconventional to face the righty.
Especially when you consider, Alex, how hot Ryan Zimmerman is. Wow.
Sorry.
I mean, that we're thinking the same way.
That's what I'm looking at. And you wouldn't say that a lot with anyone behind Bryce Harper. But Ryan Zimmerman is the hottest hitter in this lineup.
This is almost a little bit of the Barry Bonds treatment when Buck Showalter walked him with the bases loaded when the game was 8-6. But what I do like about this move and Joe Maddon and the Cubs is he's going with his gut. And he understands that with the sinker ball pitcher, you're 1 pitch away from being back in your dugout. I like the move.
Zimmerman's been quiet tonight, but entered play 9 for his last 18. Had a 6 RBI game yesterday. And Kinsler starts him with a pitch in off the plate. The Nationals hadn't a runner in scoring position between the second, when they plated their lone run, and just now. And here they've got a bases loaded opportunity with a now 2-0 count on Ryan Zimmerman.
In being a sinker ball pitcher, you want to aim for the middle of the plate and let the sinker ball move. Don't try to aim it in or out. Right down the middle and let it work. Trust it.
Zimmerman back up the middle and through, a base hit. That scores one. They're going to wave Soto around. A second run scores. And the strategy backfires here in the ninth.
And you have to come middle. The sinker ball does not sink. 2-0 fastball right down the middle. And Zimmerman continues to stay hot like he's been all weekend. Bam.
Two big runs in the ninth. Some late insurance for the visiting side and a pitching change. We'll be right back. We get it. Your life needs sports. Introducing the ESPN Ditch Days contest, where your most creative excuses could win you 2 tickets for an upcoming Major League Baseball day game. To enter, visit ESPN.com/ditchdays and have a good excuse ready.
Ferris Bueller Days Off.
Ah, very nice. Right here. So we bada bada bada.
You don't really want to ditch when you do baseball, though. That's the difference.
We don't want to ditch. We want to stay in our jobs. It is Justin Wilson to face Daniel Murphy, and that one comes in high and tight, almost gets him. I don't know how Daniel got his hands out of the way.
As a left-hander, you want to stick in there, keep that shoulder in there for the slider. So you wait to the last possible minute, and that's not fun right there, especially at 96.
Harper and Zimmerman aboard with 2 runs in. When it gets down to that one decision.
It's amazing how a player like Harper has not done much today, but his handprints are all over this game. And walking him, having that star, that superstar in the middle of the lineup, created chaos and a very tough decision for Joe Madden, which winners Nationals.
Ball and 2 strikes, the count to Murphy. You know, a lot of this gets back to just the point you made earlier about the length of the Nationals lineup and how when they're healthy, as they are now, more so than the past couple of months with Zimmerman and Murphy back, those decisions become very hard on an opposing manager. Just remember last time we had the Nationals on Sunday Night Baseball. Gabe Kapler walked Juan Soto to get to Daniel Murphy. And Daniel Murphy beat him on the 2-run single that gave Washington the lead.
Breaking ball with 2 strikes.
Murphy with a fly ball out to shallow left. Schwarber coming in, calling off Russell to make the catch.
Tonight is a perfect example of why you see Bryce Harper and how well he's been playing and hitting since June 20th. Is he has a supporting cast that when managers try to pull moves like tonight, the supporting cast is able to step up. Therefore, winner advantage Bryce Harper.
Well, this is a lineup tonight without Adam Eaton, so it has even more length normally when Eaton's in the lineup, getting the night off against the lefty.
And Anthony Rendon.
Anthony Rendon, who's injured, got hit by a pitch, but should be back.
So Mark Reynolds now with 2 on and 2 away and 2 runs in, and Ryan Madsen up in the Washington bullpen, looking for an opportunity to close this down in the last of the 9th.
You want players like Rendon and you want players like Wieters and Daniel Murphy to be the adults in the room. Give you consistent, mature at-bats, make tough decisions, speak up in meetings. You want Bryce Harper to be the best player in the world and worry about damage, 40 bombs, 130 ribbies. And that's what he's doing right now. That's why the Nationals have such optimism.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that contributed into this kind of script flipping rally here. The speed of Trey Turner gets him to third base on a ball into left. The 19-year-old kid Juan Soto, who laid off a couple of borderline pitches to draw a walk. And then of course the decision to intentionally pass Harper, only to have Ryan Zimmerman burn the Cubs. So as we talked about earlier, big picture for the Nats tonight. With the Braves beating Milwaukee and Philly losing out in San Diego, a chance for the Nationals to be 4.5 off the pace.
Again, it would not be a fun team to face, Jessica, on a game 163.
Max Scherzer, no thanks.
Dave Martinez has done a really nice job just keeping the troops together, keeping them connected. That was the lightest, most optimistic Dave Martinez we've seen so far this year. I thought he was very informative and very well prepared.
Full count now, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
This will release Harper and Zimmerman.
Reynolds is the 7th National to bat in this top half of the 9th. There go the runners, the 3-2. Rings him up on a called strike 3. The Nationals get 2 in the 9th. They turn it over to Ryan Madsen in the bottom of the inning, looking for a series win on the road. No yes, no SNY, only on ESPN tomorrow for Jacob deGrom and Luis Severino at 7 Eastern. Wednesday night baseball, the Red Sox and Phillies from the bank. And then Jess, Alex, Buster, and I will be in Williamsport a week from tonight for the Little League Classic, the Mets and Phillies at 7 Eastern. Ryan Madson protecting a 3-run lead in a safe situation to work in the bottom half of the ninth.
Madson filling in for that closer role, which seemed to be solidified with Sean Doolittle coming in last season, but now on the DL. Kelvin Herrera on the DL, but Madson able to fill in that fastball, changeup, occasional curveball that he'll throw. He'll get some good swing and misses on that changeup, especially because he throws in that same tunnel as his fastball.
Some changes behind him as well as Anthony Rendon comes in to play third and Wilmer Defoe at second. This is Dave Martinez equivalent to the hands team on a onside kick attempt. Ben Zobrist, Jason Hayward, and Albert Almora, the last chance for the Cubs, trailing by 3 tonight. Bounce to first. Well, you mentioned that changeup, Jess. It's a good one for Ryan Madson this year. Opponents batting 38 cents on that pitch. .038. The lowest batting average in baseball on plate appearances ending in a changeup.
And you can see why that last at bat to Zobrist, someone who recognizes pitches very well, way ahead of it, because it looks so much like the fastball.
Teammates with another guy that has a pretty good changeup, Cole Hamels in Philly from 206 to 211. Teammates in the World Championship team in 2008.
Jason Hayward now 0 for 3 so far tonight. Well, we went on the air tonight talking about the Nationals with an opportunity to carve into the deficit in the NL East, something that they're 2 outs away from doing. And the Cubs having an opportunity to pad their advantage atop the Brewers in the NL Central. Milwaukee losers to the Braves today. And those two will match up for a quick 2-game series coming up next here at Wrigley. Two balls and a strike. The Cardinals have played themselves back into relevancy in that division race as well. As Hayward chops one off the plate, Defoe's got to hurry, and he loses the handle. Yeah, the old cliche, Alex, the new guy, it always finds you.
It always finds you, and tough play made a little tougher by Defoe, being a little bit over aggressive. I like coming in, you have plenty of time, even 2 hands, and then a nice flip. A little bit too quick, you have plenty of time. That ball will find you. Now, if you're the Nationals, you've played a really good, clean game with your best pitcher on the mound, 8th and 9th inning, win 2 out of 3, and just get on the plane and get to St. Louis.
Albert Almora now.
And Alex, you've talked about this. We talked about with the Nationals' depth of their lineup, but when you're missing sometimes just 1 or 2 players, and for the Cubs right now, and Chris Bryant, and even though their numbers without him have still been successful, this is a night when having him in the lineup just adds to that depth, adds to the amount of names and batters that are hot.
Oh, that one hits him. And now with 1 away, the Cubs have an opportunity to bring the tying run to the plate.
and you open the box by the error or a play that should have been made, and all of a sudden you hit a batter, and now you get the time run to the plate, and it happens in 3 pitches.
Yeah, Bill Murray conjuring up little enthusiasm, as is this sold-out crowd. And now it's Kyle Schwarber who represents the tying run with 1 away. Schwarber has singled and been intentionally walked tonight. This is Kyle's 21st game since the All-Star break. He has driven in 2 runs over that period. Popped him up. Rendon, the other new guy. And that one finds him right in the glove. Talked about the Cubs with a chance to add to their lead against Milwaukee with a win tonight. There will be no ground gained. Brewers losers today, and if the Cubs fail to come back, it'll stay 2 games of separation. And again, those 2 teams match up for a quick 2-game series here at Wrigley starting on Tuesday. Wilson Contreras, the last chance for Chicago tonight. 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts against Max Scherzer. Scherzer in line for his major league leading 16th win of the year. Has displayed some nifty glove work tonight.
Very soft hands. Former Gold Glove winner. And for a man that tall, he gets as low as anybody.
He is a big boy too. You stand next to that guy, you just feel terrible about yourself. I mean, speaking, you know, personal example. Ball and 2 strikes. We talk about the Cubs staying home for 2 against the Brewers starting on Tuesday. The Nationals, as we mentioned earlier and as Alex just brought up, headed to St. Louis tonight. For a Cardinals team that just won't go away. Matt Carpenter and company still relevant.
Matt Carpenter, wow.
Putting together some MVP consideration, and when you consider the start he had to his season.
Yes, the home runs that he's hit since then.
A ball and 2 strikes, the count to Wilson Contreras. You really see on a night like tonight, because Scherzer and Hamels were so in control, so automatic, how the game has changed since it's gone to the bullpen on both sides. You just didn't feel like either lineup had a chance with those 2 starters in the game. It's been a completely different feel since the 7th. The 1-2.
Which is why, you know, Max Scherzer fights to keep the ball. He wants to stay in these games because he knows he can finish them. The thing is, they need to keep him the rest of the season. He can't finish every game.
Should it go any farther, David Bodie waits on deck for Chicago. He has been so good filling in for Chris Bryant, whose shoulder is still on the mend. 39,000 plus on their feet and very quiet as Contreras stays alive.
We've seen the fastball usually averages about 94, 95 for Madsen, kick up to 98. And what he's hoping to be the last at bat. Trying to put away Contreras with that fastball, but you know the changeup is looming.
Little cat and mouse game going between Contreras and Madsen. Yeah.
As soon as he gets on the rubber.
The next 2-2. And that hit him. And now the winning run will dig in at the plate. The second hit batsman of the inning by Ryan Madsen.
This is a terrific visit here by pitching coach Lilliquist. And basically what you're seeing is, hey, calm down here, big boy. And then Matt Weeder said, give me your best 2 pitches. And right now they're saying, give me your best 2 pitches. It should be no sign. It'll be sinker, changeup, or changeup. But when Weeder gets back behind the plate, I don't want to see any sign. You should already be on the same page, just like coming out of a football huddle. You know the play that is called. Let's go.
Hayward, Almora, and now Contreras aboard the latter of 2 via hit batsman plays. And now we're going to have a pinch runner at first as Ian Happ will come out to represent the tying run. Well, that leaves only Victor Caratini available on the Cubs bench at this point, but Joe Maddon's going to do everything he can to tie the game or more here with 2 out in the last of the ninth. David Bodie, the pinch hitter. He's been very good off the bench, 3 for 6 in this capacity. Behind 0-1. We talked about Bodie last time we saw the Cubs. This is his 5th stint with the major league team. Up and down all year seemingly from AAA. One and one.
David Bodie, one of those hitters that has hit the ball hard, especially the last 2 weeks. Best in baseball in hard hit average.
And the Cubs are down to their final strike tonight.
Oh, wow. Alan Porter with a very generous call in the bottom of the zone, but he got it right. The difference between 1-2 and 2-1 is about 200 points on the batting average.
Madsen's 1-2 pitch, and it's a 2-2 count now.
We've seen Madsen get ahead. We just haven't seen his ability to put away, and that's something that he has done well in this closer role. See Justin Miller up in the pen for the Nationals, but even though Madsen has done a good job getting ahead of these Cubs hitters, he needs that strike 3 pitch or that put away pitch to get that 3rd out.
They're clearing space beyond the outfield fence on Sheffield for a David Bodie statue here at Wrigleyville.
And a Hollywood ending for David Bodie, the 25-year-old who's been sitting idle in the bench for 25 for 8 innings, gets a fastball down in the zone. Perfect swing down, a magical swing, a magnificent result with the bat flip. That's one that Mr. Bodie will never, ever forget.
Oh, man alive. Pinch hit, walk-off, grand slam.
In all, a result of baseball gods do not lie. Wilmer Defoe on the miscue allows this inning to continue.
A misplayed ball, 2-hit batsman, and Max Scherzer's brilliant night is wiped away completely. My goodness.
And Matt, just for the Cubs, this is one night they can look back in the middle of October and say, hey, this has the feel of 2016. This has a magical feel as well. Wow.
David Bodie. What a moment.
A fantastic finish at Wrigley. And a 4-3 stirring Cubs come from behind win. Coming up next is Sports Center. Tomorrow, exclusive coverage of the Mets and Yankees at 7 Eastern. For Alex Rodriguez and Jessica Mendoza, Matt Vasgersian saying good night from Wrigley Field. Sports Center is next with John Buccigross and John Anderson.